He's got that desire that we're looking for.
You couldn't ask for a better kid to coach.
He gives everything he's got on the field.
My expectation for him is just to play as hard as he possibly can.
You got to be somewhat crazy to play defensive line.
Acheampong, class of 23, defensive end, Santa Margarita Catholic High School. I basically got to America in July 2019, and that's basically where my journey begins. I mean, it begins before that, but I say it begins then, because at that point I had basically no idea about organized sports. I mean, I knew what sports were, as in like maybe basketball, I know what it entailed, but I didn't even know what plays were.
Colin's, I'm really excited about him. His athleticism is exceptional. He's the first thing when you see him, you're like, wow, this is a huge, huge kid. But before even the athleticism, the thing that really strikes you about him is just how genuine of a kid he is.
Collins, yeah, he's a great kid, great player. You know, he comes from Africa. He's a very strong backstory on how he was able to get to America and get where he's at in this point. You know, he's been through a lot of stuff that most adults haven't been through in their lifetime, you know.
I was born September 6th, and I think just a year or two, my dad died on my birthday actually. And so it's just been my mother, and then I have 3 elder siblings, a sister and 2 brothers. And my mother basically works over 70 hours. She has to work just so she can provide for all of us. I didn't know about rich or poor because I went to a private school there. But she was working, like now that I look back, it's like she's working, we were living off loans just so I can get better education. The more I grew up, and then I wanted to become a pilot growing up. There was no airport there's no airport in my city. There's no flight school in my country. And so it's like the older I got, and then the more I got to research about that career, it was like, okay, I gotta get out of my country because what I want to do is not there. So knowing other people that have done it, like even like from Africa, I didn't know how they did it. So it's like, okay, how do I get there? And I think Fairmont being an international school already, they kind of had the infrastructures to facilitate my transition from Ghana to here, and I think that's just how I got here.
He knew for the betterment of myself and my family, I got to find a way to get there, get to America and put this size to use in American high school sports, you know?
He played basketball, that was his first sport. I played 1 year of football and then decided, you know, it'd probably be better for him to get ready to go to play football in high school before he went on to college. And, you know, we're lucky that he decided to come to us.
Basically, my people have like a highlights tape. My film was just me dunking, because that was the only thing that's what I thought sports was like. I used to watch Giannis. I go to the local park, just try to dunk it. But our rooms were like 8 feet. So coming to America was like a huge shock. Like I touched down, the next day went to a workout, rooms are super high. So I was like, okay, it's more different than I thought it was. I struggled a bit because I hadn't been in an indoor gym before. I hadn't worked out in one before, so it was cold, breathing was hard. So I think it took a lot of hard work just to even get used to everything.
Well, I think the basketball has helped him a ton, right? You know, he has a good feeling of space and movement. I think with basketball has a lot of fluidity to it. It's more like get open on the elbow versus like you get 2 steps from the elbow. You know, so like being able to sift through like blocks with the wide back, slicers, block downs, knowing how to redirect, playing ball, like not being a robot, and you can see that in what he does. And he can bend his knees and play. A lot of it's like sliding your feet, playing defense, and using his hands. So there's a lot of things that transfer over athletically, and you're like, wow, I can see why people think that he's an NFL draft pick potential.
So after the freshman year football season, going through basketball, and then I didn't really understand football still, because I think 5 games into the football season was when I watched my first football game. I think just playing basketball made me a better leader, a better learner, student of sports. And I think that's what helped me just understand plays, how to read defenses, and I think that's what I really took pride in, defense.
He's got the size to play on the edge. He's also got, you know, I mean, the speed and the size to play inside and do some stuff when you're getting your 5-0 bear package, stuff like that. So there's a number of different ways to move him around in the scheme that I think enable him just to play fast and not him think about like block recognition so much.
You want to talk about professional or D1 football, that's a coach's, you know, their archetype type player, you know. They want a guy that's very long arms. To play defensive end, you have to have great extension, and that's something, you know, with his long arms, he's able to do. It's hard for guys to get into him and block somebody like that that has such a long wingspan and long reach, you know. That type of stuff is, you know, it's uncoachable, and it's just, God blessed him with great attributes and great size.
Collins always wants to get everything right. He's very inquisitive. He wants to know, like, hey, coach, he wants to figure these things out. He has very much an engineering mindset to some degree, you know, so he has like, okay, he kind of wants to put things into like, I need to know the rule. He studies a ton. He takes great pride in what he's doing. He wants to be great. We talk about the engagement levels. He has compelled energy. And once he kind of puts it all together and feels confident, it's going to be an exponential curve for him.
In 2019, Collins Acheampong left his native Ghana in search of a better life to support his mother, Rita. Football was the last thing on his mind when he arrived in Southern California.
You know, I see him blossoming into, you know, that style of a player of just motor, balls here, I'm getting to the ball, balls on the other side of the field, I'm getting to the ball on that side as well, you know?
If he just continues like we always talk about, if he bees himself, if he's positive and he's coachable, then he'll play for a long time because he's got things you can't coach. And he's got the right character that fits with it. So long as he stays the same kid, he's gonna be fine.
God just blessed me and put me in a situation where everyone that has surrounded me kind of like chips in. Coach Cruz has been like a big blessing to me because I came in not necessarily having played football in a couple of years, but he doesn't treat me like, oh, you're good. No, like if you just stay at the back, no. I can ask him the same questions 10 times, he answers 10 times. So that helps me get better.
He can do a ton. I think he's got all the potential in the world and could be a really special player.
I just want to thank God and my family and everyone else who has been in my life because I think every single person I've met has taught me one lesson or the other. And I just take it one day at a time.
His best ball is way ahead of him. And I'm excited for him.